I'm going to wait till some people filter in real quick here. Not only is this early for a live, but I don't think I've ever even done an actual YouTube video this early. So we'll see how this goes. This should be interesting. I do know that the West Virginia Richmond game is at 1 o'clock, so I wanted to get this in before that actually happened. So last night I had my first live show, and I used the camera on my laptop that I just got, and it was terrible. So I switched over to a new camera and looks much better. So what happened in college football is it was very unexpected, especially with the LSU over Florida. But if you think about it, it doesn't really change anything because we were all expecting Alabama to beat Florida anyways. So we still expect it. The crazy thing is now if Florida were to upset Alabama and win, they'd have 2 losses. And the question would be, you're going to put in a 2-loss SEC champion? I don't think so. But it could happen. And do they leave Alabama out of the game? I had Miami winning that game and possibly somehow sneaking into the playoffs. Hey, what's up? I might slam an energy drink, or I drink Pepsi all day long. I'm not going to lie. I'm straight up addicted to Pepsi. Can't even hide it. But as far as coffee, not my thing. So I'm a Pepsi guy. But pretty much everybody that I know, wakes up, drinks their coffee, they're good to go. I can't stand the taste of coffee. So even though Florida lost last night, they're still going to get to the SEC championship because they have the tiebreaker over Georgia. But last night shows you that when Kyle Trask is off, Florida is not going to win the ball game. When he's off, Florida's going to lose because their defense is not good. Their passing defense is trash. And if you go back towards the beginning of the season when they played Texas A&M, who was ranked 21st at the time, I actually picked Texas A&M because of Florida's terrible pass defense, and I knew Texas A&M had a decent passing attack. So when you break Florida down, they're not a good team. That comes down to, as long as Kyle Trask has a great day, they're going to do all right. Your coffee is your Mountain Dew. That makes sense. I'm right there with you, except mine is Pepsi. Which, come to think, that was a great game. Trask is a trash can anyways. I like that. I don't think I've heard that one yet, and it makes sense. I might use it on my show. Give me your permission, and I will use it on my show. eCloud, did you see that field goal? Yes, I did, and I saw the missed. Are you talking about the missed field goal or the make field goal? Because that missed field goal at the end of the game was super close. Whenever it first happened, I thought that he hit it because it was foggy, and I thought he curved it in, and then the refs call it off. I'm like, I'm going to have to see another angle of that. And they did show another angle, and it was barely wide left. So that was a close miss. That wasn't oh, man, he shanked it. It was pretty close. Sean says, Oklahoma is going to win the Big 12. I'm not for sure about that because, number one, they got off the rhythm because they had to cancel a game twice. I mean, they got to play last week, but they had to cancel before and after because they were having COVID issues the week before, and then the week after, then West Virginia had COVID issues. So Iowa State looks really, really good. I'm not going to go out and say Oklahoma's going to win the Big 12. Of course they can because they're in the title game, but Iowa State, they have a good defense. Breece Hall, I don't understand why Iowa State's running back, Breece Hall, is not in the Heisman conversation. That dude, if you look at Iowa State, they're number 7 now. So if you're going by your team success, you have to insert Breece Hall into the conversation because now Iowa State actually has a very minute chance of getting into the playoffs. So if you're going by talent and the success that your team's having, there is no excuse why Breece Hall is not in the Heisman conversation. So I would be very interested to see anybody's rebuttal or argument as to why he should not be in the Heisman conversation. He's rushed for well over 1,200 yards, and he averages like 6 yards a carry. That's crazy, especially after the season is over. Maybe the first 2 or 3 games when you've only played a little bit and you're averaging that much, but usually by the end of the year it's kind of leveled off and you're in the 4 to 5. But no, he's still over 6. Josh, bro, Troy gave Coastal that game. How do you dominate on defense the possession before and then look like that the next possession? I didn't get to watch the Coastal game. I'm glad. I don't know if you're a Troy fan, but I'm glad that Coastal won that game because that keeps them in the New Year's Six conversation. But like I said last night in my live stream last night, that's going to be difficult because the playoff committee is trying to keep Cincinnati out of the playoffs, which means that Cincinnati, if they keep Cincinnati out of the playoffs, then, that's hurting Coastal Carolina as well because Cincinnati will be the highest ranked Group of 5 champion. That's assuming if they beat Tulsa. That's not a given either. Tulsa's a good team, so you never know. Tulsa could beat Cincinnati, and then Coastal Carolina beats Louisiana, and there you go. Coastal is your New Year's Six bowl bid. And if that happens and some other chaos, think about this. If that happens and some other chaos happens, does Coastal Carolina have a chance to make it to the playoffs? I would say no. But in this year of 2020, you never can say never. Aaron says, I couldn't stop laughing after he shut the shoe. Sometimes you watch football and you're just like, how can you – I know they're emotional and he was just reacting, but how can you not have the common sense not to do that? Like, I don't even do that in my own home. I don't get mad at somebody and throw my shoe at them. Like, who does that? That's dumb. I mean, maybe if the cat is about to knock something over that I don't want it to knock over, I'll throw the shoe at it and, get it away. I don't really try to hit it. But you don't go around throwing shoes at people. Oh, I'm mad today. Who am I? You don't do that. That's stupid. And he did it on the field, which it just makes no sense. I know it was in the heat of the moment, but daggone. Sean says, Oklahoma has the 4th best run defense in the country. They have done that very quietly and very sneaky. I agree with that. But go back and look at Iowa State's statistics. They look really good too. They are top 25 in run defense pace. Then Iowa State will win. That kind of stuff is what makes college football great and more entertaining than NFL. I agree. That's why I've always been obsessed with college football because there's more emotion. They're not getting they're not professionals. They're trying to get to the next level, so they're putting it out on the line. Once you get to the NFL, sure, they're trying to win championships, but by then they're millionaires and their passion is not as evident as it is in college. You still see some players that are still very, very passionate about playing in the NFL, but not nearly as much in college. I 100% agree with that comment. That is a great comment. Josh says, I love the refs called unsportsmanlike conduct throwing the opponent's shoe 20 yards down the field. I missed the actual ref called when he threw the flag. I was at the bar at that time and I had to go use the bathroom. I know, TMI. But anyways, yeah, that's crazy. He really said that, unsportsmanlike conduct. I'm imagining it in my head. Unsportsmanlike conduct, throwing the opponent's shoe 20 yards down the field. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. That's crazy. was a line from Austin Powers. That's pretty good. Yes, the shoe got the LSU MVP reward. I would say award. I think you meant award. We'll go with that. You meant award. Yeah, the shoe is the most valuable player in that game last night. It really helped LSU win that football game. It's just funny what little petty stuff the players will do. Remember when Pickens required the water on Garantino? I can't ever say his name right. You know who I'm talking about, the quarterback for Tennessee. Actually, dude, I don't remember that. Squirted water. Yeah. I do remember that. Never mind. You're right. When he squirted water on the quarterback. Yeah. In the NFL, now this is really going to show my age, but if you don't remember, you need to Google this. Randy Moss getting mad in. He was actually in the NFL. He played for the Vikings. He got mad and squirted water at the refs. So that dude was. I'm not going to say he was passionate because he was still young. I think he was just very, very immature. It drives me crazy when I think about, because Randy Moss graduated from the high school that my mom went to, and that dude was a once in a lifetime athlete, and it just seems like he wasted it because of pettiness and being childish. So, every time I think about Randy Moss, I mean, human highlight reel. I mean, put your all into it. You might, own the highlights. You might be considered one of the greatest of all time, but you will not be a champion. And that's what got in the way of Randy Moss being a champion, his attitude. Yeah. Sean says, can you rank each Power 5 conference from best to worst? Yeah, I'm going to do that actually. Right now, on the spot. So, number 5 is kind of obvious to me. It's going to be the Pac-12, especially this year. I'm assuming you mean for this year, so we're going to go with that. So, number 5 is going to be the Pac-12 for obvious reasons. Poor decision, just overall bad product on the field. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the Pac-12 would be demoted in either 4 for this year. I'm going to say the Big Ten because they're kind of in the same boat as the Pac-12. They made that bad that they're changing their own rules. And Ohio State really doesn't look all that great. They're going to be an undefeated Big Ten champion if they beat Northwestern, but really what is that worth this year? I mean, 6 wins, 6-0, including the championship game. And Northwestern does have a chance to beat Ohio State. Most people think not. I think they do. I think Ohio State wins, but I think Northwestern has a chance. So I'm going to say the Big Ten, number 4. So Pac-12, 5, Big Ten, 4, Big 12, 3. There's a lot of parity in the Big 12, but really we're guaranteed to have a 2-loss champion. So I can't put the Big 12 ahead of the ACC or the SEC because of that. But as far as decision making, I like the Big 12 and the ACC and the SEC. They stuck to their guns and got through this. So the Big 12, 3rd, number 2. Man, this is easy between the SEC and the ACC, but this year it's tough. I'm still going to stick with number 2, the ACC. I know they added Notre Dame, and that helped them tremendously as far as, being a great conference. You know what? I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to say the SEC is number 2, especially after what happened last night. Florida doesn't look all that great. So the SEC, you have Alabama. They are legitimately the number 1 team in the nation. But after that, Texas A&M, they're okay, but they lost to Florida. And then you have Georgia. They have 2 losses, one of them to Florida. And then you have Florida. They have 2 losses. They got blown out by Alabama and then just got beat by LSU. So, yeah, I'm going to say the SEC is number 2 in power rankings right now. And so that leaves the ACC number 1. You have Clemson. You have Notre Dame. Clemson's last year. This thing keeps saying connection unstable and have to reset it. It didn't do that last night. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of connection issues. Wi-Fi issues. Have North Carolina. They looked pretty good against Miami. Miami, they've looked good except for last night. And even Boston College, Virginia Tech, NC State's ranked. So, yeah, I'm going to say that the ACC is probably the best conference in football for this year. Past 10 years, SEC. This year, ACC. Salty says Pickens has a wild attitude. Yeah, I agree. Ethan, Golden Blue Dude, what chances does West Virginia basketball have going to the Final Four? Dude, I think this is a top 3 West Virginia basketball team, like, of all time. Like, I think we're better than the 2010 team and right up there with the national championship runner-up team that had Jerry West. I think we're that good. And I think we proved that against Gonzaga because we controlled a lot of that game. And I try not to blame the refs, but the refs did play a little bit of a part in that game. And Gonzaga ended up winning by 5. So Gonzaga did not control that game. And West Virginia showed that they were legit. Ethan says WVU wins by 6 or 7 points with a clutch comeback in the second half. Yeah, it seems like that's the running deal with West Virginia, kind of coming out of the gate slow and then kind of building towards the end of the game. Salty, Texas A&M only loss is to Bama. They defeated Florida. Yes, Alabama, but I still put them up there with the best teams in the SEC. So that's what I was saying. If you consider that Texas A&M, with Alabama being the best part of the SEC, that's still not as good as what the ACC has this year. Where are you trying to go with that?
He's plugging into your computer.
Oh, what side? Oh, sorry guys. We're trying to make sure this connection is super solid for you. Technical difficulties. Chill out. If y'all ever watched Earl, whenever they were messing with the lady on the news channel, came up with the penguin and icicles. Technical difficulties. Chill out. I love that show. Does anybody else still watch Earl on Netflix? I know I do. We're reestablishing connection. Hold on, because it was cutting in and out.
It's connected.
All right, so we're good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we hardwired it. We're good. Okay, there you go. So yeah, I still have the ACC as the best conference this year because of Clemson, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Miami, NC State, Boston College. Top to bottom, I think the ACC is better this year. ACC. I think bringing in Notre Dame this year, encapsulated them being better. Y'all switched coaches because that triple option was starting to get outdated and people were figuring it out. I mean, y'all could still pull off, some wins because people didn't prepare for it properly, but Georgia Tech definitely needed to get out of the triple option. Ethan, what is your predictions of West Virginia versus Richmond? Patience, my friend. Patience. As you saw in the description, it is most underrated team. Are you talking about basketball or football? Are you talking about most underrated team in basketball? I'm guessing you're talking about West Virginia. I wouldn't say they're underrated. They're they're ranked football, most underrated. Jeez. I would have to say Cincinnati is getting disrespected pretty bad, and they've looked really good. Man, NC State, they're an underrated team. They're a really good underrated team. Georgia's looking better. I've been down on Georgia for a while now, but they went and beat a pretty decent Missouri team yesterday, convincingly. So maybe if they would have had JT Daniels, they would have beaten Florida and only have one loss, and the SEC championship would be a little bit more interesting. Man. Ifs, ands, and buts. That's what college football is all about. Salty says, only team that can defeat most of any team in the SEC is Clemson. The rest SEC would kill in the SEC. You're going to have to retype that, man. I'm not sure. Cincinnati has a pretty good... I did a video on this too, like strength of schedule, all the top 10 teams, versus teams with a winning record, teams with losing record, and teams with 500 record. And Cincinnati was a top 3 team as far as playing teams with winning records. So even though they didn't blow out UCF is still a decent team. They beat UCF. If add them together, I think the playoff committee does the same thing. They take a slice of one game and they didn't look like the 4th best team in this game. You got to look at the entire picture. They've beaten UCF. They've beaten Memphis. They've beaten SMU. They've beaten Army. And they're going to get a shot at Tulsa. I'm telling you, those games, if you add them all together, it'll raise your eyebrows. Here we go. He cleaned it up. But this year, I really don't think so. I think the SEC, Alabama and Texas A&M would probably own everybody except for Clemson and Notre Dame. But outside of that, Florida, I think North Carolina can beat Florida. I think NC State can beat Florida. I think Miami can beat Florida, which they might get a chance. That actually might happen in the bowl game. And then look at Georgia. Now, Georgia's getting better. I think Georgia would be able to beat, the North Carolinas and all that stuff. So it's real even, but I give the nod to the ACC because of depth, because they added Notre Dame. Pretty much they added Notre Dame this year and it added depth to the ACC. So, I have to give the nod to the ACC. So, championship weekend coming up. We have Notre Dame versus Clemson. Everybody assuming that Clemson is going to beat Notre Dame. I am not one of those people. Do I think Clemson will win? Yes, I do. But Notre Dame has a legitimate shot at beating Clemson. They can run the ball really, really well. And one of Clemson's weakness this year is the run defense. Notre Dame exploited that in the first game. If they can do it again, Notre Dame can beat Clemson and knock them out of the playoffs. Do I see that? I realize people have Ohio State winning by 3 touchdowns. I do not, because, number one, Ohio State has a terrible defense. It's getting better, but it's terrible. Number 2, if Ohio State's offense does what they did against Indiana and goes through long stretches of not being able to score, that will keep Northwestern in the ballgame. So that's not a given as well. Still expect Ohio State to win that. Then we have the Pac-12 Championship. It's going to be this is called the default championship because Oregon versus Washington, that didn't happen. So by default, Washington's in. And then you have USC versus Colorado. That didn't happen. So by default, you have USC going in. So by default, we have Washington versus USC in the Pac-12 Championship. Who knows who's going to win that game? Sometimes USC looks good. Sometimes they do not. Washington's look pretty good except for one game. And they have to stop getting down by 21 points and trying to mount a comeback. That's what Washington has done pretty much all year. They get down by 3 touchdowns, then they mount a comeback and win. If they get down by 3 touchdowns against USC, it's not happening. But like I said, USC up and down. So that championship game, no bearing on the playoffs, but it will be interesting to watch. The next championship game, Cincinnati versus Tulsa. I like this matchup. Cincinnati has a better offense than most people realize. Their quarterback, Ritter, he's very reliable, not very turnover prone. He's not dynamic, but he takes care of the ball. And Cincinnati has a good defense. On the flip side, Tulsa, they don't have a great offense, but they do have a good defense, which should keep them in the ballgame. I still expect the favorite Cincinnati to win this, but it wouldn't shock me if Tulsa won the football game. The SEC Championship, we have Alabama versus Florida. Alabama is going to wipe the floor with Florida, especially if they play like they did today. Florida does not have the defense to compete with Alabama. If Trask is on and that offense can light it up, it can be a shootout, and I think Alabama still wins. But if that doesn't happen, there's no hope for Florida because their defense is not good, especially their passing defense. And what is Alabama good at this year? Passing. Mike Jones is going to light that defense up. It could get early. It could get ugly, and it could get ugly early. The last championship, the Big 12 Championship, it's all of a sudden become a possible factor in the playoffs because they have Iowa State ranked so high. So the Big 12 Championship game has become a little bit more important than what we realized because of how high they rank Iowa State. I think this is a very, very evenly matched game. Both defenses are playing their best. I think West Virginia should count itself lucky that we didn't have to play Oklahoma in this last stretch because we went to Ames, Iowa, and we got lit up by Iowa State, and Oklahoma is playing on the same level. West Virginia has a good defense, but I don't think we had the offense to keep up with Oklahoma. This is going to be a great, and Iowa State wins that ball game. They have a small chance of getting into the playoffs. Maybe the difference could be Breece Hall, that beast running back for Iowa State. We'll see, but I think it's super close, and it'll be a very, very interesting game. Salty says Georgia now will kill all 8 ACC teams. Even Clemson would have a hard time. Whoa. Georgia is definitely better with JT Daniels, but y'all's run game is not good enough to keep up with Clemson and Notre Dame. I think y'all would be fine against North Carolina, fine against Miami, fine against NC State, but you don't have the complete package needed to beat Clemson and Notre Dame. So you would still be a top 3 team, but Clemson Notre Dame right now is just a notch. You have to keep Clemson and Notre Dame in the same echelon as Alabama. I think those 3 are in the same echelon. Georgia is not quite there this year. JT Daniels brings them closer to that level, but still not quite there. Morgan says that is true, and I think the AAC is not a bad conference at all. And Cincy has a good resume, but whether that's true or not, the committee will punish them if they don't blow everyone out. That is the comment of the day. That is an awesome comment. I love it, and that is what everybody should be realizing because Cincinnati does have a decent strength of schedule. I know that people look at rankings. Well, SMU, they're not ranked. Well, Memphis, they're not ranked. Well, UCF, they're not ranked. They're going by rankings. That's not their fault. If you look at their records, they have really good records. It's just that the AP Top 25 and the playoff committee values the Power Fives higher. That doesn't mean those teams are not good. They're really good. And if you add them together, that's a good resume. But he's right. If Cincinnati doesn't blow every single person out that they play, then they get punished. So the playoff committee actually devalues the AAC whenever they say that. If Cincinnati doesn't blow everybody out, then they don't deserve to go. So you're devaluing the conference as a whole. If you go to another conference, Clemson doesn't have to blow everybody out. Ohio State doesn't. Well, they actually might have to blow everybody out because of their condensed schedule. The Big 12, they wouldn't have to blow everybody out. The SEC, they wouldn't have to blow everybody out, even though Alabama does. So that's really devaluing the conference as a whole. Hold on. I got kind of lost in the comments real quick. eCloud Gaming. The real question is, will LSU win back-to-back natties? Yep, that's the real question because they just pulled out a big victory against Florida, and who knows, they might let a 4-loss team into the playoffs, especially if they're the SEC. People forget LSU is the defending national champion, so that's actually not a bad comment. Ethan, everyone's saying that Illinois should not have the right to go to Final Four. 2 losses as a top 10 team. West Virginia needs to play them. Yeah, Illinois, they have not looked like that ranking. I was talking to my brother about that earlier. Expect us to do that. Then West Virginia will be in the top 10. Illinois is going to be out, so that opens up a spot. I think we would have been in the top 10 anyways, but we could be like number 6, number 7 in the nation. I think last week we should have climbed into the top 10. Sure, we had a loss, but it was to the number 1 team in the nation, and it was only by 5 points. That same team shellacked a good Kansas team by 12 points. So that should have been good enough to say, hey, West Virginia is a top 10 team. Even though they got beat by Gonzaga, it was competitive. It was super close. So what do Tom Board says, bite your tongue, Golden Blue Dude. What am I biting my I know I said something. Refresh me. What am I biting my tongue over? Morgan says, a Cincy fan, listen, I need you guys to whip up on Georgia in your New Year's Six Bowl. That's looking like the matchup that's probably going to happen. Ethan, if Notre Dame beats Clemson, what if the committee puts Notre Dame at 1 and Clemson at 4 because they want both of them in? Well, for one thing, I still don't think they're going to put Notre Dame at number 1. I still think they'll keep Alabama solidly at number 1 because I think Alabama will own Florida in the SEC Championship. So we'll have Alabama at 1. So you're saying if Notre Dame beats Clemson, so Notre Dame would stay at number 2. I think there's a real possibility that Clemson could stay in the top 4 as long as it's a close game. A 2-loss Clemson and those losses to Notre Dame, that might be good enough to keep them in the top 4, depending on what happens everywhere else. Because you still have Ohio State, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Texas A&M with 1 loss. I don't know. They would probably not be in the top 4. That's probably where you open up a door for a Texas A&M, possibly a Cincinnati. Tom says, Cincinnati dug their grave. All they had to do was play. You can't take 3 weeks off at the end of the season and have expectations. I'm salty, but I know how it works. Yeah, but everybody's had to cancel games. I mean, Ohio State had to cancel a couple games. The Big Ten literally reverse course on their own rule to get Ohio State in the title game. So, yeah, having to take a game off and not playing in 3 weeks sucks, but it's not their fault, and everybody's had to do it. The good news is they're still going to get to play Tulsa, and if they win, that still gives them a glimmer of hope to get into the playoffs, but other things need to happen. Morgan, yes, since they should have done some crazy scheduling like BYU. Well, BYU actually didn't do some crazy scheduling. That was a last-minute cancellation by Liberty, and they just filled in, and they got beat. So it actually turned out to not help BYU. They were thinking that Coastal would help them pad their resume. It turns out they lose, and now they're out of the New Year's Six bowl bid. So that came back to bite them. And Liberty, if you think about it, Liberty probably would have lost that game. So missing a game helped the team that missed the game and hurt the team that played the game because it helped Liberty and hurt BYU. That's a crazy thing. Yeah, but we're talking about this year. Clemson will lose again. First game next season, 42 and 18-4 against Georgia. Georgia is 7-1 last 8 meetings in the Georgia-Clemson history. Clemson is nobody. You are real salty today, my friend. Oh, Georgia running game. I suggest open your eyes. Zeus did great yesterday. Yeah, but Missouri has a bad running game. And the Gator game with a 75-yard touchdown run. Yeah, but consistency, man. Consistency. And I'm not saying that Georgia's a bad team. Don't get it twisted. Georgia is a good team. They're just not quite there. I look forward to that game next year. That's going to be a great game. I'll probably be at that game and do a preview or something. Mark says, without a conference championship, LSU has no chance at the playoff. They do not have a conference championship, and they have 4 losses. LSU has no shot at getting to the playoffs. Let's just hammer that out right now. Ethan says, I heard the Steele brothers are making a decision to go to the NFL draft. That does not surprise me. We're lucky that we got them for this year. I wish them all the best of luck. They have helped West Virginia tremendously. The question is, will Letty Brown, Jarrett Deggy, and some of the other pieces that we have this year stay? Because if you look at West Virginia as a whole, the Steels brothers were great this year as usual, but they weren't the highlight of our team. We had a great secondary. We had a bunch of great guys. Tony Fields, missing him is going to hurt. But we have a lot of great talent coming back next year. It's just a question of will some key pieces return. But the Steels brothers, amazing athleticism. They will be missed. Don't get it twisted. They will be missed. But I cannot blame them at all for making that decision. I agree with them, and I wish them all the best. And hopefully one of them gets to go to the Bengals, because that's my NFL team. Bengals already got Burrow. We have A.J. Green. I know Burrow went down with an injury, but getting one of the Steels brothers would help for defense as well. So let's make it happen. Aaron says, responding to Mark, LSU has been eliminated from CFP since week 2. Yeah, we were just messing around with LSU. That was not a serious conversation. Fields declaring as well. We all expected that. All the WVU definitely is leaving. I don't think so. I think the Steels brothers will be leaving, and Deggy and Letty Brown don't want to leave West Virginia with a bad taste in their mouth. And I think they could increase their draft stock if they stayed. I think the Steels brothers have done all they could, and them going to the NFL is the right decision. But for Deggy and Letty Brown and some of these other cats, they need to stay and increase their draft value. That's why I think they do stay. All right, so now let's shift over to the basketball thing. Richmond at West Virginia. This is a pretty big game for both teams. West Virginia is favored by 7.5. Everything looks pretty similar. Points per game, Richmond is at 78, West Virginia at 75. Points against, 67 for Richmond, 68. So offense, defense, very, very evenly matched for West Virginia. So I think the thing that's making West Virginia fans nervous for this basketball game is the fact that Richmond is ranked number 19th. Sorry. Pretty much the only reason that is because they beat number 10 Kentucky, who has turned out to be not good. So I think Richmond is a little overranked. I still think they deserve to be in the top 25 because they haven't lost, but that win against Kentucky doesn't hold the same value as it did. So maybe that will, allow West Virginia's fans to relax just a little bit. It is at home. West Virginia has looked better and better. The big concern is we come out slow out of the gate. So that's the big concern. The big matchup for this game is going to be the power forwards. Grant Golden for Richmond versus Derek Culver for West Virginia. It's going to be very evenly matched, and I think, like I said last night, these are two similar teams as far as style of play. But as far as athletes go, West Virginia has the better athletes, and I think that's what this game will come down to. A lot of people are worried because of the North Texas game. That was just Huggins trying to figure out the right combo, because even when you figure out the starting five, there's still other combos throughout the game that you have to figure out for certain situations. And that's exactly, in previous games, because that's just how we've played. But I think West Virginia wins comfortably, and I think we get into the top 10 because this will be considered a great win. Even though, personally, I think Richmond is a little overvalued because of that win over Kentucky. Let's look at their wins. Duquesne, Morehead State, then you have Kentucky, Wofford, and Northern Illinois. Nothing really pops out except for that win over Kentucky, but Kentucky's no good this year anyways. Rebounds per game. This could be the big advantage that West Virginia has. West Virginia averages over 10 rebounds a game more than Richmond. So if that holds true and we get those second try points off the rebound, that's game over. West Virginia is going to light Richmond up. So that's the big thing that West Virginia holds as far as any type of advantage. Richmond does shoot the ball better, 49% compared to 39%. But if you go back and look at Gonzaga shot like 50-some%. It was something ridiculous. So I'm not worried about that stat. One of the big things that I like is the free throw percentage. Richmond is actually not very good at the free throws. They shoot at like 66, 67%. West Virginia is almost at 80%. So that's a check mark for West Virginia as far as free throws. We're shooting it much, much better. Honestly, guys, the more that I've studied into this game, the more that I've broken it down, the more confident I am that West Virginia will pull off the win. Probably by double digits, too. I know they're only favored by 7.5. They're matched up evenly, but I think West Virginia has better depth, and we have better athletes. It's at home, and it's going to be on TV, and West Virginia will be looking to make a statement against Richmond, and this isn't a figure out the right combo game. So I think West Virginia will look as good as we did against Gonzaga. And yes, we looked good. We looked really good. We hung in there. So now we're considered a 2 seed. This will keep us locked into the 2 seed. And guys, really the only team that we need to be worried about in the Big 12 is Baylor. I think we're better than Texas A&M. We're better than Kansas, Kansas State, all of them. The only team that West Virginia needs to worry about in the Big 12 is Baylor. I think it'll be Baylor and West Virginia for the Big 12 Championship this year in the tournament. And I'm going to give West Virginia the nod for the regular season tournament because Baylor has some more tough games than what West Virginia has as far as out of conference. We get Florida. Florida just got obliterated by Florida State. So I think even with our shortened schedule, I think it's 25 games. I still think West Virginia gets to 20 wins, which will be impressive. Final Four team. Crossing my fingers for a national championship team. We'll see. This is our best chance. So I wanted to touch on the basketball thing real quick. Let's go back to football real quick. Morgan, do I want to get into it with a Georgia fan today? Like talking to a wall. Yes, you do want to get into it with a Georgia fan. That's why I'm doing this. I want Cincinnati fans to fight with Ohio State fans. I want Georgia fans to fight with Georgia Tech fans. We have a Nebraska fan. I need a Missouri fan to get in here, or heck, even the Ohio State fan. Y'all are in the Big Ten. Start a fight there. That's friendly fights. That's what I like. Some good arguments. Some good saltiness. That's why I like your name so much, Salty Dog. Plain as day. I'm salty. I like it. So yes, I think you should get into it. Salty says Georgia Tech has more natties than the Dogs. Dang, I didn't even realize that. And Georgia Tech used to be an SEC team, and they are from Georgia. Man, that's not talking crap. That's actually being nice. I thought you were going to start talking crap. What happened? That was like the nicest rival comment I've ever seen in my entire life. I would never say that to a Pitt fan, ever. Obsessed nerd college football fan, dude. That's why I even started this channel, because my family was like, stop talking about college football 24/7. Find an outlet. So I found YouTube, and it's actually working out really nice. People are actually enjoying my obsession with me. Love it. Salty, I am not a Georgia Tech hater. Man, you just took the air out of the. You just took the air out of the conversation, man. Not a Georgia Tech hater. I did not ever think that I would see that come out of a Georgia fan. Wow. Citrus says, more rare than a Nebraska win. Sports says, okay, I'll stop the trash talk. No, don't stop the trash talk. Pump it up. We need more trash talk. Salty, I'm a Clemson and Florida hater. Well, then talk trash about Clemson and Florida, please. I don't know if we have any Clemson. I'm not sure how many Florida subscribers I've had, but I have a pretty good amount of Clemson, but I'm not sure if they're here. But I do. What I'm saying is I see a Georgia Tech fan and I see a Georgia fan, and they're actually getting along. Wow. I mean, I can't really say anything bad about it other than it's not very entertaining. Tom says, I've lived OTP for it's worth it. Continuing the conversation, but they will never be recognized by UGA. That's how you trash talk. Citrus says, more rare than a competent Husker win. Yeah, I know. I remember back when Nebraska was the Big Red Machine, and I think, okay, college football, now I can't believe I'm going to be saying some of this stuff, but it is the truth. But as far as college football, to feel like college football, number one, let me make this clear. Horns down. I hate Texas, but college football needs Texas to be back. They do. They need the U to be back. They need the Big Red Machine to be back. They need history, but they're good. And Florida, they're trying to be back, but they're not back. But we need Texas, even though I hate their guts. Texas, even USC, Notre Dame is starting to get their wheels as far as being back. The U in Florida. So there's some, and the Big Red Machine, Nebraska. We need Nebraska to be relevant again. So Citrus is saying he can join the Clemson Salt Train. So there you go. You have a friend there, Salty. More section. Oh man, you go over to Uncle Lou, and you're a Florida fan, a South Carolina fan, a Clemson fan, a Georgia Tech fan. Anything that's a rival of Georgia, and he's going to rip your head off. Like, that's just the way he is. He's very successful too, so maybe that's not a bad thing. Troy says, I am a West Virginia fan. You're a subscriber, right? Because I need more West Virginia subscribers. I am vastly, vastly outnumbered, which I love all my non-West Virginia subscribers. I'm just saying. Salty, only time I argue with a Georgia Tech fan is the week we play. Fair enough. Watch Sarah Fuller go first in the NFL. Didn't she make a kick last night? I think she actually made a field goal last night. Sports Prod says, yeah, I think I've seen you in the Uncle Lou's comment section. I go there a lot. I like to trash talk over there. I go to Uncle Lou. I go to Pigskin Pete. I go to Coach Q. He's a Miami fan, but every Sunday, which I'm not going to get to today. Man, I forgot about it. Man, crap. I need to call him. I'm going to be traveling today. I'm not going to be able to do it, so maybe he can push that to this evening or tomorrow. But usually on Sunday, I do a live show with Hurricane T2Y, and we recap the new AP Top 25. So I need to get a hold of him about that because I'm not going to be able to do that as far as at 4 o'clock. So basically, Morgan is saying Georgia Tech don't really argue that much these days because it hasn't been competitive. That is fair enough. Tom says, talking to Citrus, you just made me laugh and puke at the same time. I missed that. So y'all rehash that out and let me know what he's talking about. What, Tom? I'm asking you a direct question. What made you laugh and puke at the same time? Salty says, Tom Board, there is a varsity in Athens, also at both. Oh, I didn't know there was one in Athens. Is the varsity in Athens as good as the one in Atlanta? Because if that's so, then you are blessed, my friend. Uncle Lou's video about Tech made me so mad the other day. I made a rage response video. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. He gets down and dirty with his rival videos. JT is way better than Fromm. Agreed. Danner says, I need West Virginia back. Yes. And I think they're on their way back. We had a terrible game against Iowa State. But if you look at the entire season, West Virginia definitely took a step forward this year. We had some stupid losses where we shot ourselves in the foot. But overall, we only got blasted one time. Last year we got blasted like 5 times. So, yeah, step forward. Another step forward will happen next year. Salty says, Uncle Lou is a glorified crybaby. I used to like Uncle Lou, but when he calls dogs fans Denzi dogs, I say goodbye because he does look He doesn't look at the full picture. Uncle Lou, this will probably get me heat with Uncle Lou, and y'all are more than welcome to go over there and tell him that I said this. I do not care to grab heat. Like, that's actually a good thing sometimes. But Uncle Lou, he is kind of letting the success get into his head. He talks down to people. His trash talk is way more personal than what it used to be. I'm a very small up and coming YouTube channel. He doesn't even recognize my name anymore, which is fine. That's fine. If that's who you are, that's fine. I'm just saying he's changed. I really don't think that's who he is. I think he's changed because of how much success he's had. Hopefully one day I have the success he has. I end up having the success that he's had, but I'm not going to turn into that. That's not going to happen. And if I don't have that success, that's fine too. I just have fun doing it. But making money while having fun, that's a dream. So we'll see. We're approaching 1,000. We'll see. Sports said, if Uncle Lou's comment section feels like there's more trash talk on Georgia than any other he brings it upon himself because he comes off as an Alabama fan, to be honest with you, because he acts like Georgia is like way up there, like looking down on everybody. And Georgia is not at that level yet. Alabama, I would say Alabama and Clemson, not even Ohio State, Alabama and Clemson are at the level where they can talk like that. But I don't really know much Clemson fans that do that. If you talk smack to Clemson fans, they're going to talk back to it. But usually they don't start it. Danner said Sarah Fuller kicked extra point. I knew she did something. Opposing Tennessee did not try to block the attempt though. Oh, I didn't see it live, but I saw something on the recap section. Sports, Tennessee brought no pressure. Yeah, I know. I missed a comment up there. Hold on. What was it? Somebody said something. Man, Sports, you said something about my merch, and then you took it off. And I didn't get to read it before you took it off. I've been to the varsity in Athens. How is it? Is it as good as the one in Atlanta? Tom says, if you're going to the varsity, there's only one place to go. I would have to say Atlanta. But, Tom said, hell no, that the varsity in Athens is not as good as the one in Atlanta. Thanks for clearing that up. Athens is actually a little bit farther from where I live. I live in the upstate of South Carolina, so if I'm going to go to the varsity, I'm going to Atlanta, which is only like an hour and a half drive for me. Garrett Gray says, West Virginia could have upset Oklahoma if they played this weekend. I don't know. Oklahoma is right up there with Iowa State. I know it was at home, and I think the game would definitely have been closer than the Iowa State game, but as far as beating them, I'm not going to say that. I don't think so. Troy says, I wish we could play Oklahoma and beat them. Everybody wishes that, actually, because beating Oklahoma is fun. But West Virginia wouldn't know that because we haven't done that in like 8 years. No, longer than that. They've won 8 in a row, but it's been since 2008 since we beat them. So 12 years. So, I have forgotten what that feeling is like. Morgan says, Georgia fans have all the attitude of Bama with none of the results. Salty, you might not like us for saying that, but it is the truth. I mean, you go over to Uncle Lou's channel, and he has the swag of Bama and Clemson, but nothing to back it up. I don't ever see that from Salty himself, but a lot of Georgia fans are like that. Salty says, Clemson fans talk worse than that. I don't agree with you. I live in the upstate of South Carolina, and my fiance is a Clemson fan. The only trash talk they do, number one, to South Carolina fans. South Carolina fans are delusional, not going to lie. And number two, if you try to discredit their national championships, yes, they will light you up for that. But as far as actually starting trash talk, I really haven't seen that. I'm being honest with you. I'm not I'm not a Clemson fan. I don't favor Clemson, so I don't really have a reason to say great things about them other than the truth. They usually don't start the trash talk. If they are trash talk too, then yeah, they're probably going to light you up. Sports Prod, Clemson fans have become the most annoying fan base. Why are y'all saying that? I don't see it. Like, seriously, I don't see it. Maybe it's because I'm a West Virginia fan, and the last time we played, we kicked their rear end. So maybe it's that. So yeah. Maybe it's just a different experience for different fan bases. It might be like that. So since I'm a West Virginia fan, they don't really talk that much crap to me. But Clemson, Georgia, definitely Clemson, South Carolina. Those two fan bases talk. I mean, South Carolina talks nonsense because they've never been relevant and they never will be relevant. So whatever they say is delusional and nonsense. I love hearing conversations between those two. But Clemson, Georgia, that's a pretty good rivalry right there. And then Clemson, Alabama, that's a more recent rivalry. So that's not really historic. That's just because they've both been really, really good. Tom says, I really like this channel. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I appreciate that. As far as merch goes, we got a few of these out. We're working on t-shirts. We have them ordered. We got these. We got 100 of these koozies. We're going to start selling. So yeah,
let's give one away right now.
Yeah, we're gonna. I think I'm gonna give one away actually. My brother's in the room. What's the criteria? What should we do on that?
I'm just gonna give a random one away right now.
Random, just
pick a comment or something.
All right, so I might do that after the show. That way, it's more random.
Or best comment.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna look back in the comments right now. Give me the best freaking. I don't care if it's about football. I don't care if it's about your rival. I don't care if it's about Uncle Lou. I don't care if it's about me. I don't care about this channel. Give me your best comment and Golden Blue Dude merch cozies is yours. And I'm not even gonna put a limit on it. If I see like 4 or 5 great comments, I'm gonna give out 4 or 5. I just want to see some good comments here. So Troy says we beat Clemson bad in the Orange Bowl 70-33. I watched the game. Yeah, I actually have some Clemson fans that are still salty about that, even though that was a long, long time ago. That's almost a decade ago. But you know what? I would trade that beatdown for the success that Clemson has had since the beatdown. So in other words, I would take the beatdown from Clemson in that bowl game and have 2 national championships. Tom Board, Joe Burrow is God. Okay, you get a koozie. Yeah, that's a koozie comment. You're getting one. Man, that was a good one. I'm a Bengals fan, so that really touched me right in the heart too. I know he got injured, but JT Christ is the GOAT. What? JT Christ.
Is that Georgia's quarterback?
JT Daniels. I'm trying to figure out the Christ, man. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not figuring it out. You might have to elaborate on that one. Salty says, Dog, my landlord's daughter and I always go at it about Georgia Tech. She tells me she will pull a Georgia Tech sticker on my camper, put a Georgia Tech sticker on my camper. I tell her, go for it, but I put a Bulldog sticker on her car. So y'all have a sticker war going on. Okay. That's actually really cool. Like, why haven't more people done that? A sticker war. That's nice. Like, we beat y'all. You got to wear our sticker. Y'all beat us. We got to wear your sticker. I like it. Ron. Dude, I didn't know you were here, Ron. Thanks for stopping by. Iowa coming from 2 losses to come back and win all the rivalry games and come home with the trophies. Go Hawks. You do not get a cozy for that. That is not a good comment. It's not going to happen. Money June. Ohio State gets everything handed to them. That gets a cozy. That is true. That's a good comment. Ron, I'm going to give you a second chance, though. I know you can do better than that. I really want to give you a cozy. Give me a better comment than that. Salty says she never has. That's a cozy. Love it. Troy says Joe Burrow was a good player for the Bagels. He is a goat. You mean Bengals? Yeah, I'm really hoping. I'm really hoping. Sports says Citadel is the best. Are you a Citadel fan? Like, did you go to the Citadel or know a lot of people that went to the Citadel? Kind of confused on that one. Morgan says, I'd have to drive my car off a cliff if there was anything Georgia on my car. Ooh. Now that is a rivalry comment right there. Yeah. He left the room. He's supposed to be keeping tabs on how many of these I'm giving away. I think that's up to 5 now because I'm going to give one away for that. That's actually pretty good. Sports Prod. No, I'm not a Citadel fan. LOL. Oh. Well, now I'm really confused. I'm super, super confused. How much, let me ask you guys this. How much interest is there for, and keep in mind, it doesn't necessarily have to be the blue and gold. How much interest is there for the gold and blue do hoodies and gold and blue do t-shirts? We're trying to get a number going. So y'all let me know how much interest y'all have in that. College Basketball Kingdom, Cleveland State at number 2, at number 22, Ohio State. Let me look at that real quick because somebody else said something about that. I haven't really thought about that matchup. Just give me 1 second here. All right, so, well, Cleveland State is 0-2. Come on. Ohio State's at 24. That was a joke comment, wasn't it? Dadgummit, you got me. I'll give you a cozy for that. Yeah, I'll take Ohio State by a lot. Sports says they beat Georgia Tech last year. That's what. Oh, I get it. Yep, you earned a cozy. That was a developing comment thing. I like it. Mark Fain says I would love one. I actually have hoodies. What size do you wear, man? I actually have a few hoodies available right now. I think we got like 3 or 4 available. To face the music, money and politics drive sports, and it is what it is. Morgan says I'd buy some GB Mercy. I think he meant merch to support the channel. I like more humble guys that have a good attitude. I appreciate that. I can have an attitude, but as far as like thinking I'm better than somebody, that's just stupid. The way I was raised is nobody is better than anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or a bum. The millionaire is not better than the bum. We are all human beings. So yeah, just because somebody starts making a lot of money doesn't mean they're better than anybody. I hate that. Hate it. Can't stand it. Always stay humble is the goal. Garrett says not on board with the team that plays 6 games. Ohio State playing less than 5 games less than other college football playoff teams. Yep, 100% agree. Money June, hotties. It won't spell. He's trying to say hoodies. First he said like the bodies. Well, I've been working out. Then he said like hotties, and then he's like it won't spell. Autocorrect is kicking your rear end. I see that. Yeah, I feel bad. I'm going to give you a koozie just because I feel bad for you. That's rough. Autocorrect can kick your rear end sometimes. College Basketball Kingdom, the top matchups are West Virginia, Richmond, and Arizona State, Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon can score. I say Arizona State by 1. Fair enough. I haven't really looked into that. I do know West Virginia, Richmond is at the top of the slate today. Tom says that's the comment of the day. Money and politics do control sports. Absolutely. Guys, I'm going to have to get off here in just a second. It's really tough for me to get off these lives because I have to be back in South Carolina at a particular time. And if I don't leave in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be SOL, like Major League. And it says you are better than non-Mountaineers. Kind of confused on that one. Salty says, wait, Sports Pro says, yeah, Ohio State should not make the playoffs. I think most of us agree that Ohio State doesn't deserve to go. Troy says, I hope West Virginia football team can go to a bowl game this year. They'll definitely be invited. If you go back and look at my bowl projection videos, I actually have West Virginia in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl against Maryland. They're not our biggest rival, but they are a rival. And the Guaranteed Rate Bowl has a Big Ten tie-in, and from where Maryland finishes in their conference and where West Virginia finishes in their conference, that would be the matchup. So, and I think West Virginia would own Maryland. So I'm all about that. Salty says, when I say something about a team, I go say, you go back to 1980. I know what you're thinking. You're good, man. I like your trash talk. Keep it coming. You don't trash talk with arrogance. You trash talk with a good sense of humor. There's a difference. If you have arrogance and you just think your shit don't stink and you're better than everybody, that's when I start tuning you out. But you say it with a grain of salt, a sense of humor, you're good. Mark, what's your thoughts on the Ears game today? Well, I talked about that earlier, but I'll quickly go over it real quick. Richmond, West Virginia looks like an evenly matched team. Richmond's ranked number 19. You go back and look at their wins, they really haven't beaten anybody. That win over Kentucky is not any good anymore because Kentucky's not ranked anymore. So I think Richmond is a little overranked. I think Derek Culver and the Golden Kid from Richmond, that'll be the matchup of the game as far as player versus player. They're both good forwards. Play style is even, so I'm going to give it to West Virginia because we have better depth and we have better athletes. I think it'll start out close, but in the end, I have West Virginia by at least 10. But I still think it'll be a good game. But once this game is over, a lot of Mountaineer fans will be much more relaxed and much more confident about our chances of winning the Big 12 and getting to the Final Four. So that's my quick recap of that. Sports Pride, Missouri beat Illinois. Yeah, Illinois has fallen off the cliff. Salty says he goes back to the very beginning of Georgia football. There you go. If you can legitimately do that, then daggum, you know your team inside and out. I can't even do that. All right, guys. So I got to get off here. I got to get on the road and head back to South Carolina. But I appreciate every single one of y'all dropping by, and I'm going to go back and figure out how many cozies I am going to. I might just give it to everybody because we have 100. I don't know. That's not a promise. I still want to see good comments. So after the live feed goes off, you still have a chance to put in a great comment. So if you hear from me, it's about the koozie, and I'll figure that out once I get back to South Carolina. So appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm going to try to do an actual video later on today, probably a West Virginia video about the game, but also talking about the AP Top 25 because it'll be released today. So I'm going to get out of here. I hope everybody has a great Sunday. 6-hour trip. I got to get going. So I'll see y'all. I might do a live one tomorrow, depending on my reaction. So we'll see. Videos coming out tonight. Appreciate y'all stopping by. I'll see y'all later. We were fighting each other on that.